Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Holistic Lifestyle Medicine. My name is Aman and I live in this little town 1.5 hours north of Melbourne in Australia. Some 9 years ago, my daughter was born in Melbourne. I lived in Melbourne at that time and I felt very, very sick on all levels. So started my journey of healing, of peeling back the layers, of going deep within my psyche, within my body, within my mind. And as part of this healing journey, I had to change every aspect of my lifestyle, the way I lived, the way I ate, the way I worked, the whole gamut. And earlier this year, I received some very clear inspiration that I should now start sharing some of what I've learned in these 8-9 years of journeying myself. And I'm here today in this greenhouse recording this introduction video to my YouTube channel. The clarity has arrived. I would like to share content here on this channel in the form of shorts, long format videos, interviews. I know I've met in this journey of nearly a decade. I have met some amazing people that know a thing or two about lifestyle medicine that I would love to invite here to talk to. So when we use the word medicine, it's often for something that's outside of ourselves that we put inside or we take or pop in to feel better, to heal from a disease. And so when we start using the word lifestyle medicine, we're really saying that it's the way we live that becomes our medicine. Our lifestyle is our medicine. It allows us to feel well, at peace. And so that's where the word lifestyle medicine has started to become quite popular. Holistic lifestyle medicine really looks at all aspects of lifestyle. So while some might be looking at food, water, sleep, we're also looking at community, we're also looking at your passions, about living via your purpose. I don't think that there's any way to contain this subject matter. I think it's like an exploratory journey that one goes on, that I think I will be for the rest of my life. So, but it's heartening, it's really heartening to see that lifestyle medicine is gaining such momentum even in the mainstream. There is definitely a place to start this journey with of holistic lifestyle medicine. For sure, eating organic food, drinking clean water that hasn't had fluoride and chlorine and all sorts of additives added to it, sleeping, sort of, aligning your body clock with circadian rhythms, exercise, movement. There's definitely like all those things that we already know, that we already start with. But I believe that there's no sort of upper limit or ceiling of where this journey is headed. As we heal through lifestyle, as we integrate, as we become whole, we find more and more and more aspects of how we live to investigate, to look at, to transform, to learn from. So I'll take you on a little journey via a story that's actually really dear to my heart. I was reflecting upon this just last week. When I was a little girl, every summer holidays and winter holidays, I'm talking about school holidays, I would go with my brother and my mum to a little village in Punjab in northern India to spend time with my grandparents. These are my mother's parents. My grandmother woke up at 4 a.m. every morning And she was, after her morning prayers, she was on her haunches, sweeping the floor. Then she worked in the kitchen, again on her feet, on the floor, cooking in an earthen oven, or it's called a chula. My grandfather was away in the fields. He was, working very, very early in the morning. By the time we woke up at 7 or 7:30, they'd already put in some solid 3 hours of physical manual work. By 6 o'clock, they were all back and all sitting around that earthen chulha where they cooked with cow dung cakes. And everyone was sitting around having their meal. As soon as it was nightfall, all activity had stopped. Everyone would be in their beds chatting to each other. In the summers, we would sleep outdoors under the starlit sky. In the winters, it was inside. Most part of those early 15 years nearly that I went to this little village, there was no electricity, so they would all work using kerosene lamps. Towards the end of those 15 years, electricity arrived, but even then it was just a couple of rooms that had a couple of bulbs, like really just the kitchen and another room where they needed some light. It wasn't like the whole house was lit up with electricity. All that time that I spent at my grandmother's, I had never seen anything in a packet, food items in a packet. So nothing was packaged, everything was cooked from scratch, everything was cooked for that particular meal. So lunch was consumed within lunchtime because there was no refrigeration. Every meal was made fresh to eat within that time period. They also lived in a very interconnected, interwoven community where they relied on each other. They were dependent on each other for childcare, for all sorts of help services. There was a genuine sense of, oh, the village is behind us. No, they didn't feel like they were on their own. They ate seasonally because they only ate what they either grew or traded with other families. Everyone ate what was in season. Their water came from their borewell hand pump. It was a very simple life. It was a very simple life. I had never seen any prescription medicines in that house or any doctor's visits till they were much older, in their 80s and 90s, that some medical issues started to crop up. The reason I relate this story is because it really brings up in stark contrast just how far we've gone from the way our ancestors lived. In my own case, my 20s and 30s were spent living in cities, in a very sedentary lifestyle, 9 to 5 in an office building, air conditioned, artificial lighting. I had no fixed sleep times. I was on digital devices in the evening, well after it was dark. I was quite happily eating packaged food. I had no sense of community because, of course, in cities that isn't there. And so in my own personal journey in these last 9 years, as I made the transition to move out of the city to come live in a small town, or you can even really call it a village, where people are a lot more connected with each other. They are a lot more open to exchange. They're there to help each other. As I started to grow my own food, as I started to put my hands in the soil, as I started to learn all of these aspects that I've just mentioned, living with the circadian rhythms, with the seasons, understanding the cyclical nature of life, I started to realize really that lifestyle medicine, holistic lifestyle medicine, is really going back to the basics, going back to how our ancestors lived. most of us will agree that our ancestors lived in a deep sense of communion, in a deep sense of interconnection with all life. And this capitalist, hyper-consumerist dream that we've been innocently sold through school, through education, through our parents, society, culture, has not delivered. Moving away from traditional ways of living and congregating in large numbers in densely populated cities has actually made us a lot more stressed, a lot more disconnected, a lot more lonelier than how our ancestors lived. So it's my desire through this channel to share snippets of my own journey, to talk to people that are also on similar journeys. And I feel like it's really, really hard to we can't go back. I can't go back to that village in Punjab. It doesn't exist. A lot of us have moved so much further away from how our ancestors lived, but the memories are still there. It hasn't been that long. It's only 2 generations. I mean, I remember it all, right? It's all there in my body as memory. So we start from where we are. I feel like this is where we are, wherever we are living, whichever situation we're in, we can bring elements of holistic lifestyle medicine and start to unwind and start to remember the simple way of life. I think the times are ripe. A lot of us are feeling this angst, this sadness, this grief, because we're all coming to this realization that the systems, the structures, the capitalistic systems and structures have not delivered. They have not brought us to a greater sense of human potential and expression. They have actually contracted our beings. And therefore, I'm hoping that through this channel, in little ways, we can all go on a journey together and start to remember those ancient ways of being that still live within us, that still live within our memory. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video, this introductory video to my channel. Some of the aspects that I have already written down in terms of episodes that I would like to talk about are movement, money, the role of money and exchange in a local community. I want to bring my very, very amazing yoga teacher and chat to her about the body and movement. I'd like to talk about energy as currency, and how can we do some really simple changes to have higher energy. This can all either be very overwhelming because change is hard. Trust me, it has been so difficult myself because of habits, because of conditioning to make changes. But if there's one thing that I will say is, don't give up. Like, don't go into that place of this is too hard. Small changes, baby steps, everything makes a difference. Incremental change. You don't have to change everything on the first day. It's taken me 9 years and I'm still learning about lifestyle medicine. So just commit to a small change every month, every few months, and you'll start noticing the changes in your health, in your well-being, in the peace that you start to feel in the gifts and the creativity and the inspiration that you start to unlock. Yes, that's another episode. What happens when we start healing? What happens when we start, when our nervous systems start to ease? We start unlocking a whole new level of creativity and expression in this body-mind. So all I'll say is lifestyle medicine is so important. I'd say it's almost non-negotiable really in these times to take this journey on. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful to be creating this channel. I'm really grateful to be creating this content. And I hold deep, deep compassion and understanding for anyone that is feeling this calling within and also feeling the overwhelm of change, the overwhelm of where do I start? How do I, get on this journey? Step by step, small changes, baby steps, incremental change, always, always helps, always works. Thank you. Thank you.